What's up, Fight House fans? We are back with episode 29 of the Fight House podcast. It is me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy.
We got a great show for you today, guys. Emmanuel Sanchez is back. We have Jose Shorty Torres with us. Kristina Williams getting ready to take on Heather Hardy, Bellator 185. That's going to be a great fight. Huge opportunity for her. Lazar Stojadinovic, he's going to be here to talk with us. Craziness surrounding his Dana White Contender Series and everything that went on, but he's back on his horse. He's made the move to California. Got a lot going on. We're going to talk to him about that, and we will close out the show with Sam Alvey. The man is literally a fight anywhere, anytime guy. Took a last-minute fight in Poland, UFC Fight Night 116. 118, I apologize.
That's all right.
Against Ramazan Ameev. Hope I got that right and didn't butcher it too bad. Great show. We're going to talk to him, see where he's at. He's in the middle of a massive weight cut. So we're going to talk to him and see how he feels about the upcoming fight. See what he thinks is going to go down. We'll talk. Stay with us. 5 great guests. We'll be back with Emmanuel Sanchez. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Emmanuel Sanchez, who's coming off a massive victory over Daniel Strauss at Bellator 184. What's going on, Emmanuel? Thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Welcome back. Last time we spoke with you was just before the fight. What's your thoughts about your performance, man? Kind of went as you thought it would?
Yeah, I'm pleased. I feel like maybe perhaps I'd be even more pleased if I got him in the first, but yeah. I think all around, it goes to show that there was no mistake anywhere, even though, I suffered a laceration, I still was able to come up, I think, arguably win the first round because I had the scrambles, and I was dominating him. Of course, won the second, nearly stopped it, and then got the tap third, So I think all in all, it showed that it wasn't just a quick submission or catching him right away. It was, it was just domination, I felt, of being able to stuff the takedown and then come up on top even off the takedown. And, you get to see a little bit of striking, but even in the striking aspect, I got it till he tried to take me down again, and just dominated on the ground.
It was the best performance I've seen from you personally. I thought it was I think you did a fantastic job. And how did it feel to get the finish, man? I know it's one that's eluded you. It's kind of been, you could tell it was like slightly frustrating for you, but you got it. You picked it up. It was a nice one. Like, how did that feel?
It feels good to finally have it. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while, and I'm like, hey man, finally. It's like I think it shows a lot though, because obviously you've seen his last performances. Okay, he got caught against Pitbull for the most part. He's been able to dominate and finish people or go the distance with people. But now, I've been the one to showcase like, oh, okay, this is the last man to hold the title, and I was able to dominate him until I got the finish.
How was your conditioning headed in? I know that previously you had a little bit of trouble with the 145 in your last fight, but you made it pretty easily this time. How did you feel, and what did you do differently to make it so easily this time around?
I got myself a girlfriend, man. It's pretty awesome. She does all my diet, nutrition. She takes care of me, check my weight every week, made sure I was healthy and good and blessed, man. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have her. I treat her just like, a coach. I don't let it be, I'm not a diva, anything about it. I just listen to her and tell her how I'm feeling and what's going on. And, she just keeps me fueled to train harder. And, keeps me on tabs to make sure I'm making my weight healthy and that I'm performing to my best abilities.
Was it easy for you this time around?
Oh, big time. I made it the day before, so
Nice.
I had to eat and drink a little bit. Yeah, I was just killing time, honestly, till weigh-ins. Because, after my first day arriving, and then we trained, I do a little bath just to relax, and boom, I was on weight.
Nice.
I was like, wow.
That's a good day.
I had breakfast, I had eaten throughout the day. Yeah, I couldn't, even me, man, I was in disbelief. I was so happy that I lost, 7 pounds just working out, and it felt light to me, yet I was still able to kill it in my workout, Normally, sometimes I've been undernourished. I wouldn't say, okay, yeah, you're cutting weight, yeah, you're dieting, you're getting yourself down, but more than anything, it's about nourishment, right? And
Definitely.
I was undernourished previously to the point where obviously I didn't want to go and be in the sauna or the hot tub or do a steam bath, or I didn't want to exercise to try to get the weight off because my body just felt like crap, But she kept me so fed and hydrated all the way up until, weigh-ins. Even, weigh-in morning, I felt like I was eating chocolate and drinking a little bit, and I was still underweight. And I was like, oh, wow, I can make championship weight easy.
Beautiful. It's always nice that, when it's you can add that addition to your game, just the nutrition aspect.
Absolutely.
And really be on top of that. That's a huge thing. To the fight, how much did that play a role in just being able to compete in that type of fight? Like, it wasn't like your usual striking battles and stuff. You did a lot of grappling and stuff. Was that how much of a factor did that become?
I thought it'd be a little more, because I honestly did think he would, want to throw down. Obviously he can throw down. We've all seen it. I thought perhaps he was going to strike a little more, especially. Supposedly, I heard through the wire that he'd been doing some training with Henry Hooft and the Black Zillions. So I, in my mind, I'm like, I know this guy can fight everywhere. So I'm not anticipating him just coming out and swinging.
Right.
And I wasn't anticipating him just coming out for the takedown. I knew that he's very well-rounded and he can fight anywhere. He's got over 30 professional fights, 2-time world champion. But you learn a thing or two.
Definitely.
I know this guy is not one-dimensional. He can bring many different things to the table. So I just had to be ready for everything. And, it happened to be the takedowns. And, I guess it showed that I could come out on top even with the wrestling and jiu-jitsu aspect.
I was honestly, not to speak down on your game or nothing by any means, but I was surprised at how well you did in the grappling aspect. I thought that might be the challenge for you, and you passed that test. It blew my mind. I was so impressed with the way you were able to dominate on the ground as well. Did anything he do in the cage surprise you? Like, was there anything that caught you off guard, or it took you a second to adapt to?
Just how physically strong he was. I didn't think I was gonna outsize him or do anything. I knew he's a big dude. He was. But when I was on top, where he was on top of me, I was like, oh wow, he's really strong, and he was going for the ground and pound right away. So I knew normally sometimes I saw him have a little more control, but the second he got me on the ground, he started throwing down elbows, obviously, and punches. I was like, oh crap, this guy's bringing the heat right away. Normally I see him secure the takedown first, or go for a submission right away too, with the triple thread, an arm triangle or the guillotine, kind of like how he did with Corrales,
right,
or Pitbull even. So I was like, okay, I felt like I could handle that grappling. I'll just work on really standing back up. But he held me down, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to have to force a scramble. And thankfully, with all my scrambling, I was able to come out, take his back, or come out on top, or stand up.
What did it do for your confidence when you were able to grapple with him? I'm sure when you entered the cage, you knew that you would have an advantage in the striking department, but it must have really opened up your game for you when you were able to grapple with him and realize that you could come out on top there as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I know that there's a lot of great grapplers out there in my division and, in the world. But as far as MMA goes, man, it's a completely different story than wrestling for wrestling, jiu-jitsu. For jiu-jitsu, we all know that, You're not getting elbowed in the face during jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Just, or punches and knees in wrestling, so you have nothing to worry about, eating that when you shoot it for a takedown. But in MMA, it's all different, The best in the world, you see Mighty Mouse being able to out-wrestle Olympic-level wrestlers, or St. Pierre being able to out-wrestle all the best wrestlers. So, it's completely different in MMA. So I know I can bring something different to the table, and I know I've fought some of the best grapplers in my division, or, in the world in general, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champions, too. So I know, I'm like, okay, if I can stuff their takedowns or hang on the ground with them, then I can hang on the ground with anybody.
Definitely. The one thing that was interesting about this fight was that the first round was very competitive. It was back and forth. You had both threatened with some submissions, but in the second round, it was like you started to pull away. Did you feel was there a change in momentum? Did you feel it, that it was happening? And what do you attest it to? Why do you feel that happened?
I felt like I was just, I was hunting all the submissions, obviously. I wanted the submission. Put them away, like the first round you see the knee bar, and then after the knee bar, of course I was going for the rear naked, I knew the arm triangle was there. I was doing my best, obviously, to hunt everything.
Definitely.
And then in the second round, I was hunting for the arm triangle, but then once I saw, I'm like, all right, I'm going to trust this, that he's not going to explode out of this, and I'm going to be able to pass to the mount. And I did, and then I'm like, all right, I just mounted him. And now, all right, it's time to go to town. Obviously I want the TKO with the 5 pound. And, at no point did I think, all right, come on, ref, stop this. I was just keep hitting him. I didn't know how much time was left on the clock and whatever was going on. I just knew I'm going to just keep hitting him until the ref says stop, obviously, And I'm just going to just keep hammering away.
Yeah.
Hammering away. And sure enough, the time ran out, and then I was like, oh, damn. Well, then I should have turned it up a little more, because
right.
I did hear the ref a little, but by that time, the time had run out, so
sure.
I knew, I was like, okay, in my mind, obviously, I'm never, a point fighter, I got this round, I got that round. I just knew, I was like, all right, first one's close, I was able to hunt a submission. Second one, I'm pounding him out. Third one now, I'm like, all right, let's just keep this pressure on him, I felt. Let's just keep this dominant pressure on him. Let him, if he wants to still fight for the takedown, at least end up on top or force the scramble, and I knew I was going to continue to win the scrambles. So, and I did. And as I knew I was fighting the takedown, I wanted to take it back again. I slipped on through, and then I saw him come in and locked up the triangle.
Yeah, man, it was a nice one, very slick. Do you feel like you got to be next in line for that title shot? And have you gotten any word from Bellator at all? Is there about that being the case?
I most definitely feel and know, that it is there.
Mm-hmm.
But, one fight at a time, man. I'm not, begging for it and, thinking like, oh, I'm the most deserving and I'm, this, whatever. Rankings and your record, at the end of the day, I could say it don't mean diddly squat. It all just means, who's ready, who puts the butts in seats, and who's going to put on the most exciting fight,
Right.
So, it's always my job. It's always my job to do that, to do the best that I possibly can, and know that, hey, yeah, I'm going to be a fan favorite here, and I'm going to be a reason why people want to tune in to watch this fight. Whether it be another Bellator pay-per-view or whether it be free on Spike TV.
Yeah.
I want to do my best to earn that main event slot again, or co-main event. So it's been 2 co-main events in a row against 2 former champions.
Yeah.
So perhaps that main event slot is next. We've seen time and time again, it takes time. Look at Max Holloway, how long he had to wait.
Sure.
Tony Ferguson, how long he's had to wait. Everyone's got their time. So in the meantime, though, I'm not going to sit on the shelf and, be on Twitter about it. I'm just going to stay in the gym, continue to work hard, and on to the next one. If they give me 1 more, 10 more, it's just like Pokemon, man. You want to be the best, you want to be the master, you got to catch them all. So I want to be the best featherweight in the world, the best pound for pound. I want to be a legend. Got to do legendary things. So
true.
I'll do whatever I got to do to go out and beat whoever I got to beat. And when the time comes, get that belt.
When do you want to get back in there? How are you coming out of that fight? Do you have any nagging injuries? Anything that's going to keep you out a little longer? Or, what are you thinking?
Truth be told, I haven't been 100%, man. The world really hasn't seen the best me yet. They've only seen me at 4th or 5th gear. I've yet to show the 6th, and then the extra tanks and Nas that I got, But it's good, I've still been able to fight to the best of my abilities and give it all I got. So, I'm going to just make sure I just heal up right, obviously take care of my body. But I'd love to fight before year's end. It's an opportunity presented itself.
Sweet.
But if I got to wait, then it's all right. I'll be patient. I just got to stay in the gym, stay healthy, stay ready. And you never know when you're going to get that phone call. I could say, I'm going to sit and wait and see how things play out, but you really never know, man. I've had many unscheduled fights where I got the phone call and was like, oh, crap. You gotta put the slice of pizza down and start running.
Fair enough.
So, don't not get caught with my pants down. You never know when you're going to get that phone call. So just be ready no matter what.
True, man. Listen, I hope you get that call. 2 great performances back to back. I thought just solid domination. I don't think there's too many people ahead of you in that line, so I'm hoping you get that call next, man. I'd like to see it. And I want to thank you for your time, man. As always.
Thank you for having me.
100%, man.
Can't wait for the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And enjoy the rest of your night, Emmanuel.
Thank you, brother. You too.
All right, bro.
All right, bye-bye.
He's a beast, man. He's getting his time.
Yeah, for sure. He's only lost to Pat Curran and.
Yeah, Daniel Weichel. He's fighting for the title right now.
Exactly. Yeah, so.
He's tough. 3 losses in his career. He's got a solid record. I don't see anybody really in front of him at 155. Who's in front of him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
145. You mean?
Sorry.
It's okay.
145. I apologize.
What do you think is next for Daniel Strauss after that loss?
I don't know. That's 2 losses. I mean, he's still there. He's still very, very, very relevant. But who knows?
It's a tough one.
Probably like a 10 or 11 guy.
It seems like a common tale when you're chasing that title and maybe you lose. And then you come back and you just. It's not that he underestimated or anything. It's just it's another tough opponent, and it's just like to get past that person. It seems difficult usually.
People speaking of people getting past obstacles to get to goals, we got Jose Torres coming back on. He's got a big fight coming up at Titan 46, so we're going to talk to him in a minute and see what he's got to say about his upcoming title bout. He's going to be defending one of his 2 titles, the bantamweight title. That elusive UFC shot. We're going to see. Hopefully he gets it, man.
It's coming.
It's coming. Anyway, we'll be right back with Jose Torres, so stay with us. What's up, Fighthouse? We are back with Jose Torres, the 2-division, the champ from Titan. He's getting ready to defend his bantamweight belt at Titan 46 against Gleitson de Jesus. What's going on, Jose? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us again, brother.
It's awesome to be on, as always, man. It's cool that people can now say champ.
The champ.
It's an awesome feeling.
Yeah, man, you've had a lot of awesome things going on. I'll ask you right away, the painting, man. You got a painting in your home city. How good does that feel?
Dude, it's amazing because, there's only, at least from what I see, 2 reasons why MMA fighters, just fighters in general, are put up on walls. One is either because they passed away and they're trying to put it as like a memorial, or they're putting them up because they're just that inspirational, like Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Cotto, all these guys. So being put up there and not just being put up, but people from my neighborhood, people who know me or people who are starting to find out who I am or taking pictures with it and really, sending me the pictures. And it's inspiring for myself, too, because it's like I'm trying to, my main goal is to be a hero. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm trying to inspire people and seeing people that want to get this painting up. I have 2 so far up. A 3rd one is coming up in the town of Berwyn. And it's just
sweet.
It's really nice to hear that people want to see this. Yeah, people want it up.
How did this all come together? Like, where you ended up in this position? How did that happen?
Well, the cool thing was, my brother is a really good artist. Does permission walls all around Chicago. And,
okay.
He got asked to do a permission wall, and so he did one, and then later on he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna start painting. Without any permission. So technically it was illegal. He's like, I'm just gonna start painting, and if they tell me something, then I'll figure out something. But he starts to paint me, and the big old outline comes up, and it's 2 stories high, and it's about 20 to 25 feet up. Nice. And the people come out, they're like, "Dude, what are you doing? This is illegal. We didn't give you any permission." And then he just starts talking about the story and our childhood and everything. That in a sense that we both have gone through, and myself of trying to become a champ, and now I'm champ, and all that stuff, and how inspiring at least I am in my neighborhood and people that know me. And people are like, actually. Finish the painting, yeah, that'd be awesome. Out of nowhere, people are just gathering to take photos with it. It's just really, really cool to know that once they heard my story, they're like, you know what, actually, that's a really good idea. Yeah, paint it up. And then once they painted that, where I'm from right now, where I'm living, the town of Cicero, is like, we want one too. So we painted down one of the viaducts, and then now the town of Berwyn, which is right next to that, they're like, oh, well, we want a painting too. So it's really cool to see that my image and what I'm doing is actually inspiring people to, get up and do more.
Absolutely, man. I noticed you also have a clothing line going on because I follow you on social media stuff. So I know they got the Team Shorty stuff, the hoodies, the sweaters, man. What made you decide to get into clothing?
Well, it's really cool. My biggest inspiration when it comes to promoting is Cub Swanson. You see his stickers everywhere. You see his logo. He's really defined. People, when you see his logo, it's just like a sports team, like the Cubs or White Sox. You see the logo. It doesn't have to say the name, but you already know. It's like, oh, it's Cub Swanson, Killer Cub. That's awesome. Yeah. So for me, I'm not in it for the money. I don't make much money on it. It's actually most of the time 20% of my earnings from the funding goes to the kids in my gym so they can travel and train and get the same opportunity I was able to. But it's really cool to have this, to have, help support my training camp. I'm not a GoFundMe type of guy where it's like, hey, I don't work. Let me start a GoFundMe so people can pay for my training camp. That's just not what I like to do, but hopefully my biggest dream is to fight in the UFC and have just one whole section, if not the whole arena, just have Shorty gear and show that people are supporting me all throughout from the beginning all the way to the end. And it's just really cool. You know, it's really cool to see people that believe in me. And I don't sell bad stuff. I'm actually doing some great things. So anyone who wants to support, TeamShorty.com. I'm always putting the variety out there. And actually, for people who don't know, I don't make things twice. You know, I don't restock and stuff. So once I make it and it's gone, it's gone. You know, so at least I know if you have the very first shirt, man, you were supporting me from day one, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man, that's cool that you only make the promo. So it's like, well, everything's limited edition. It's nice.
Yeah.
Adds a little extra to it, you know. One thing I thought was fun. Well, I don't know how funny it is, but I gave me a bit of a laugh because you kind of made a laugh about it as well. Was on social media, you got blocked by Mick Maynard all across social media. How did that?
Yeah, I was bugging him. I was definitely bugging him, and I would have blocked him too. You know, and it wasn't a disrespectful thing from you know either one of us. You know, for me, I'm bugging him because I'm gonna be tagging a bunch of stuff because I'm not the only fighter tagging him and stuff for then. I know that for a fact. But it's the fact of I put out there, and it still is my most popular tweet of, you know, I'm a 2-division champion, I'm a two-time world champion as an amateur, I'm a pro, and I still haven't gotten the call up. Like, you know, what's up with this? What's the UFC really want? Do they want fighters, or do they want really, really good talent? Anyone could be a fighter. It's who could be a really good fighter and be promoted like the way I do myself. So, I guess he found his disrespect because he has called me. Actually, he called me 4 times, 3 for the Contender Series and 1 to fight Justin Scoggins out of a 10-day notice. But sadly, in my last fight, I broke my hand and tore my MCL, so I wasn't able to get the official call-up. But for me, I believe because of my accolades, my resume, and everything I've been able to accomplish, not just at 5-0 as a pro in only 1 year's time, but also all the stuff I've been able to accomplish as an amateur, no one has my type of resume. So I believe I deserve a contract, and I believe I deserve, you know, hopefully a month or 2 months type of promotional status to where, you know, I'm signed, and I might not be main event. I might not be the main event for a prelim fight either, but they go, oh, man, we signed Shorty Torres. We're going to promote the heck out of him, and it's going to be beneficial that way instead of a last-minute 2-week call-up or, you know, so be it. But, you know, he found that as a little disrespectful, and plus I kept tagging him stuff, so I'm assuming I annoyed him. And which, dude, I have a horrible tendency in doing that. So, again, I've talked to him. There's nothing against it. He doesn't want to be tagged.
Did he unblock you? Did he end up on, like, are you guys on good terms like that, or like from a social media perspective?
I believe on Twitter he unblocked me. Instagram, he's definitely blocked me for sure. But which is fine. Again, I'm at that 50-50 state. It's like I'm trying, you know. But you know, right now I'm at a limbo state.
But they are giving you the call though. But you are,
and that's the cool thing is that they have called me. So you know, I'm at a limbo state though right now.
Yeah. Because
I fight November 17th at 135.
Right.
But in the UFC, I want to fight most definitely 125. I don't mind doing the 135 last-minute call-up if they need a fighter. I'm more than happy to do it with Dallin Cerrone and be like, sure, I don't mind putting on the show and having a good challenge.
Sure.
But my weight class is 125. So even though I'm getting ready for November 17th at 135, I'm keeping my weight low as soon as possible just in case I get that last-minute call-up, and I'm always trying to be prepared. And right now I'm in, you know, California, just getting ready with TJ, helping him for his fight, Juan Archuleta getting ready for his fight, and even Cub Swanson. So I'm training with some of the best, and I'm just excited either way.
How is that working with TJ?
Dude, it's awesome. You know, I've helped, you know, TJ with the John Lineker fight, and after that, him and I have just clicked. We're both there in sync together, and he's just taking me around the country with him, you know, from Colorado now to LA, and it's really cool because every training session with him is very different. And going with TJ, he goes 100% everything. And if you're not prepared, if you're not shaped, you're going to get wrecked. And, I took 4 months off, you know, broke my hand, tore my MCL, so I'm just getting back to it. So last week, it was horrible. You know, it was my first time sparring MMA again. I haven't really thrown much. I've done a lot
of sparring with TJ Dillashaw.
It's way different. You know, and I'm sparring with TJ. I'm getting, you know, kicked in the face by Cub. You know, getting taken down by Juan Archuleta. So it was a little bit demasculating. I'm like, man, do I still got this? And we sparred yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, I did much better. You know, like, I'm just really, really happy that I'm starting to catch back on to where I was and trying to catch up to where I was, and then, you know, get back to, you know, surpassing, you know, where I was in my last fight. Because, you know, my last fight was good. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of how I fought my last fight. I know I could have done so much better, but there's always a woulda, shoulda, coulda. I tried my best, and I'm happy for it. But I'm just really excited to see what's next, whether it's Kristina Jesus or a last-minute call-up by the UFC.
You know, you just said a minute ago that you were keeping your weight down in case you got the call up for 125, and you clearly got that in your focus. You have for a long time. But does that at all in any way distract you from the challenge of Gleison de Jesus in front of you?
It does a little bit. You know, I won't shy away from it. It does a little bit because, in a sense, I'm kind of looking past Gleison.
Right.
And it's not that I'm looking past him. It doesn't matter who I would fight in Titan FC. I believe I've already fought the best in Titan FC. Pedro Nobre and Farkad Sharipov had phenomenal records. And I'm fighting a guy who's 7-2, which, hey, I can't say anything. I'm only 5-0, but he hasn't fought anyone well. And if I would fight anybody at 125 for Titan FC, they don't have the type of resume or accolades that I have. Given I'm trying not to belittle any of the guys, but I feel I've done enough in Titan FC, creating history and having 2 belts, being the first 2 weight class champion, then I feel that I do deserve a UFC contract, and it is my time to move up. I feel like I achieved everything I should achieve. There's nothing more to achieve besides, I guess, maybe defending a 35-pound belt and doing something that Conor McGregor's never even done once. You know, so you know, I'm trying to.
I like the jab at Conor there. I like that.
Well, I'm trying to compare myself to some of the greats. You know, Conor McGregor was one of the first guys to get 2 belts in 2 different weight classes in the sport of MMA at 45, 55, and do the same thing in the UFC, which is incredible. You know, you can't shy away from it.
Nope.
But he's never defended a belt, and he did that at 14-2 in Cage Warriors. I did it at 5-0 in Titan FC, and I was still able to defend 1 belt during that process. So, you know, I feel that I'm a true champion. I'm not just, you know, getting the belt and, okay, cool, bye. I'm trying to create history and trying to show my dominance that I am ready for the best, and I'm not trying to waste any type of fight.
You know, I was going to ask you about, since you just brought it up, do these fights get more dangerous? Because I was actually talking about this with the producer just before the show, that it feels like because you don't have that plethora of guys that are on your level right now, that you're actually fighting guys, you're going backwards kind of, it feels like. Like, you know, you fight Pedro Nobre, and then you fight Farkad Sharipov. But if you look on paper, like Pedro Nobre had a bigger name than Farkad Sharipov, and then Farkad Sharipov's got a bigger name than Gleison, right? So does it get more dangerous from that perspective?
Yeah, it you know, for me, I like to take fights that are hopefully a win-win.
Yes.
You know, for me, with this fight, I'm at a 50-50, you know, because Gleison Jesus doesn't have the accolades. No one knows who he is right now. Everyone's going to watch the fight because they know who I am, but they're automatically going to think, oh, I don't know who this guy is, so Shorty Torres is just going to dominate him. I'm automatically going to be the favorite, which is cool. I respect that. But for me, there's no, and I believe Gleison Jesus is a great fighter, but he hasn't tested himself against anyone good, and I believe I'm great, at least in the Titan FC standpoint. And this is going to be his first big test for me. So again, I'm moving backwards. So if I lose to him, it is 100% a lose-lose situation. If I beat him, the only gain I have is that I finally defended my 35-pound championship, and that's something, again, that, you know, for Conor McGregor, if I want to compare it to, he never defended the second belt he claimed. You know, so it's like, cool, I'm building my accolades. But like you said, Pedro Nobre, UFC veteran, 18-2, knock him out in 86 seconds. Cool, I'm a dominant champion at 125. And I bump up to fight a very dominant 135-pound champion who won the tournament to claim the 135-pound belt, and I beat him, somebody at a higher weight class. So it was a win-win. Even if I lost, it's not the weight class I believe I should be. But if I lose to Gleison Jesus, I'm losing to a bigger guy, again, probably a weight class I shouldn't be at right now in my career, and I'm losing to a guy that's not really known. So I'd rather lose to a guy who has some type of resume. If I would have lost to Farkad, it's like, hey, man, at least this kid went up, he bumped up a weight class, and he fought some guy who has literally 7 times his record. You know, so it was a win-win. You know, there wasn't going to be a lose in that fight. With this one, there's definitely lose, and you know, it does get worse and worse if I stay in Titan FC. And then again, nothing against the promotion. I just have beaten the best already. You know, so for me, it's like, oh man, well, what do I do next? Now I'm just taking fights and just waiting for an official contract for the UFC.
So now, if you're in a position, so being in this position now, if you go out there, you dominate for whatever reason, you don't get that call. Does it make it where, like, the next fight, it's got to be like a contender series fight? Like, there isn't, if it's not the UFC, it has to be like the closest you could possibly get to the UFC? Like, do you kind of get that feel?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the Contender Series is a phenomenal show. I have nothing against the show, but for me, I just believe I've already done enough. If if I have no choice but to do the Contender Series, and that's what McMahon and Dana White want me to do, then so be it. I have to do what I have to do, but I feel that I've done enough to get the call up. Again, no one's done what I've done in history as an amateur and now as a pro, so or at least as fast as what I've done as a pro. So, I'm just really right now just, going back to work and doing my thing. And if UFC doesn't call up, then, we'll figure something else out. Maybe I drop back down to 25 and keep on showing my dominance, or, hey, maybe I would even bump up to 45 and show that I'm willing to take any type of fight to get your attention.
That's crazy. That would be crazy. I'd love to see you do that, man. That'd be a big move, a bold move.
Yeah, literally a big move.
Yeah, definitely.
But for me, and it's one of those things that if I win the 45-pound belt, I'm a person that, again, wants to show my dominance. I want to show that I am good. So it's like, oh, man, now I got to defend it. Damn.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
always somebody bigger and badder than the last guy. So that's what makes Gleason Jesus, my next fight, so dangerous, is that it puts a lot of pressure on myself of I have to win, because if I lose to, in a sense, nobody, and again, no disrespect to Gleason, he just doesn't have the name yet, but if I lose to him, then it's like I'm backtracking 2 or 3 steps compared to I lose to a well-known name. It's like, hey, man, he lost to a good guy. All right, cool, let's give him a second chance.
But I have to think that you've dealt with this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, it just brings pressure.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, but I think I would feel like you've dealt with this, being the fact that as an amateur you won the world title twice. So the second time around, you probably were running into a lot of guys where it was like, oh, he's going to kill. Like, this isn't even going to be close. And you kind of have that same danger, no?
Yeah, and the cool thing is when I was an amateur, the first year was very, very tough for me.
Yeah.
But the second year, the competition, honestly, I think it got 2 times tougher.
Okay.
I just so happened to be ahead of the game. I just was way more prepared because I've already gone through it once.
Right.
And I've already faced the pressure of being in the under the spotlight and in the full-size octagon and being the defending world champ. That's a lot of pressure on yourself. I even told myself that if I don't win this, I want to do it again next year. To prove to myself that winning the first year wasn't a fluke. So when I won the second time, I was like, this is great. But you could tell every single guy that went in there, besides the guy I did a rematch with from the UK, everyone else was like, oh man, this is a whole new situation for me. I'm fighting the best in the world. So I'm fighting the defending world champion. It puts a lot of pressure on themselves. For me, the only pressure is to try to win the fight. I've already claimed the first world title. I'm just hoping I don't lose. So with this one, I'm not feeling much pressure. It just it would really suck if so happens Duke closes his eyes, catching me with something, and I get knocked out. So
yeah, that was
it would definitely backtrack me in my career, and
sure.
I feel already that I should be in the UFC. But opportunities come and go, and I'm just waiting for the next one to come up.
You're a pressure fighter. De Jesus, he has 2 first-round finishes, but everything after that is a decision. So it's been 2 first-round finishes. He hasn't finished past the first round. Do you feel like that might be a sign that he slows down after round 1 if you apply that pressure?
Yeah, honestly, if anyone's seen Rocky 3, Clubber Lang, I 100% believe he's a Clubber Lang. I think he's very, very dangerous in the first round, and I know he can stand and bang and put on a great show. He definitely wants to put on a show. I just don't believe he has the condition I do. Farkhad Sharipov showed his dominance in the first round, but once that gas tank goes away, I'm just coming and coming and coming. And for me, if anyone watched my last fight, I broke my hand, got dropped, and tore my MCL in the first round, and still came back even harder with only one hand and one good leg for 4 more rounds, and I was still able to dominate the fight. So just imagine me healthy against a guy who hasn't fought somebody like me. I'm just going to push forward. And if he only has 1 round, if he doesn't finish me in that first round, it is going to be a long 5-round fight if it goes a distance.
Fair enough. How do you see it playing out?
I honestly don't see it going to past 3 rounds. I'll give him the second. I'll definitely give him the first round, pushing forward and see where it goes from there. But I'm training with some of the best in the world. When I was getting ready for Farkhad Sharipov, it's like, okay, cool, bumped up to 35, but I'm facing one of the best 35ers in UFC history, TJ Dillashaw. Now I'm training with Juan Archuleta, who's a 4-weight class champion for King of the Cage, all the way from 135 to 160 because they have a 160 weight class,
right,
or I believe 165. And then now I'm training with Cub Swanson, a guy who's at a higher weight class, who's already defined his own legacy in itself. So I'm training with some of the best. So I'm not worried about the fight, but I really do believe it's going to end in the second round. But if it gets past that, I don't see it go past the third. He's going to be extremely fatigued with my type of fighting style. If he doesn't finish me in the first round, it is going to be a very long fight for him.
Yeah, you think a knockout or a submission?
I would, for me, if everything would play out 100% the way I wanted to, again, I broke my hand. I want to show not just to the UFC, but to myself, that my hand is 100%, and I want to knock him out with the right.
Sweet. Listen, Jose, I want to thank you, man, for coming on the show and giving us some of your time. I look forward to the fight. And I every time you fight, the last couple at least, I've been like, well, this is going to be the one. Then he goes to the UFC. Then I was like, okay, this has got to be the one. So I definitely feel like this time, third time's a charm, and I really hope you get that call, man.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to, myself, and I really appreciate all the support from not just you, but everyone interviewing me, everyone around the world supporting me. And again, if anyone wants to support TeamShorty.com, I really appreciate you guys supporting. And again, 20% of my earnings does go to the kids in my gym to, to train and get the same opportunity I did. So I really appreciate all the support, guys. Remember to follow Jose Shorty Torres on all social media links. Thank you so much.
There it is, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good luck with all the training, bro, and I'll see you to fight, man. Take care.
I appreciate it, man. Take care of yourself, too.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye.
Jose Shorty Torres. Guy's a beast.
So after talking to him with a few times now, what do you feel like Sean Shelby and these guys are thinking when they,
oh man,
they're making these decisions? What do you think the thought process is?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when they bring guys in, that they have to get, especially in the flyweight division, more so than like the other divisions, just because they get rushed. They don't have the time to get 5 or 6 fights or whatever like you do in like a much deeper division. They end up, Ray Borg was probably still a few fights away from Demetrius, but because there's nobody else, that's where he's at.
Ray Borg did a really good job.
He did a great job, of course.
It's just another level.
Of course, that's what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying you're terrible. I'm not saying you did bad. I'm just saying, dude hit you with a flying arm. Are you like, no one does that. It's just
So you think that they're not taking him on because they feel like it's just like baptism on a fire. You have to eventually just fight Demetrius Johnson if you put a couple wins together.
Think about this. Conor had 20 fights. There's some guys that it's like, okay, you're going to be a star. Mm-hmm. Relax. You know what I mean? Get a couple more fights. Get these fights under your belt. Mm-hmm. If he was just disposable, they'd bring him in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I know.
If they didn't see, I think with some people they see something and it's like, let's take our time with them.
That makes sense.
We could rush him in, but then we could ruin him.
Yeah, but if he just keeps winning, they're gonna have no choice. They're definitely gonna have.
But then he'll be ready.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
even if he goes and defends his belt right now, you gotta consider scooping him up.
Likely, but that doesn't mean he'll be 6 fights.
It's a little different.
If they make one more, 7 fights, but then it'll be like he's been calling this since the Pedro Nobre fight, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that was like fight 4 for him.
True.
This will be fight 6, fight 7. So you get those few more fights. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, okay, he's ready. He's ready to bring him in. So I think that I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be incredibly wrong. But I feel like that's probably part of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, but I also feel like he would have got picked up sooner had he been with a different promotion. No disrespect to Titan as a promotion. Mm-hmm. But I think like LFA and stuff has kind of assumed that role of feeder league.
Yeah, it's because it's easier to access on television. You don't have to have Fight Pass.
Sure. Yeah. And they put on fights every other week.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they're super active.
You're super active. Mm-hmm. Titan, Jose, unless Jose's on the card, it's almost like they're not even having a card.
Yeah, you're not comparing talent pool. You're just saying the way that they produce it.
Yeah, it's the way that it is, right? Yeah. Why did World Series of Fighting disappear? Because they weren't active.
It's true.
It wasn't about having fighters. You just weren't active. You were putting on, 6 cards, 7 cards, 8 cards a year. Mm-hmm. So, you're not going to excel like that. So I think it's the same with Titan, right? Like, guys are going to go to LFA because they know they can fight 3 times a year.
Yeah,
Titan, it's like, well...
And that's what they need, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. We'll see. I do think if he was with LFA, he'd already be in the UFC. But, Sean O'Malley, look at these other guys. They're not 2 division champions.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're very good, and they're going to be very, very good. But...
It's like Demetrius Johnson.
They handled their business.
We might have to throw him in there. It's like we don't even want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. What if he comes out and destroys somebody? Yeah. You almost have to give him a top 10 guy because the top 10 isn't deep.
It's true.
So, I don't know. So, who's up next?
We got Kristina Williams.
Nice. She got a big opportunity ahead of her with Heather Hardy.
And a fight on her hands for sure.
yeah, definitely got a fight on her hands. But Heather's got a fight on her hands. She's no stranger.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I haven't seen Kristina Williams fight yet, but I've seen Heather Hardy.
I haven't seen a lot of her.
Yeah,
but she's 12-0, and she's fought Muay Thai, boxing, and MMA.
I'm excited.
She hasn't lost.
I'm excited. The last Bellator card had Hardy on it. That fight got the. It set the.
Oh my god!
It set the presence of that card was pretty good. Like it could have.
That was a great fight.
Yeah,
it was a ridiculous fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like women's MMA, a lot of times is missing that like heavy striking element. You know,
the
like
brutality.
Yeah, like the brutality of it.
Yeah.
Like only a few really bring that. You know, Amanda Nunes, Joanna. They're
the most popular ones.
Right, they really kind of bring that. Well, Shevchenko too, like Holly Holm brings that same sort of firepower, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, she's got a huge opportunity on her hands, and we're gonna see if she makes. It's a big stage to make your debut on. I'll say that.
Yeah,
you got a big fight for your pro debut. So I don't know what got her that fight, but kudos to her manager, and we'll see if she can take advantage of it. We'll be right back to talk to her about her preparation and see where her head's at heading into the fight. We'll be right back. Stay with us. What's up, Fight House fans? We are back with Kristina William, who's getting ready to take on Heather Hardy at Bellator 185. Welcome to the show, Kristina. Thanks for joining us. How's everything?
Hi. Good to be on.
Yeah, thanks. How's everything going? How's preparations for the fight?
It's going really good. I feel really good right now.
Beautiful. You have a great nickname, the War Horse. How did you come across that nickname? How'd that happen? That is a badass nickname.
Sorry, my phone must have cut out. What did you say?
I said you have a pretty cool nickname, the War Horse. How did you get that nickname? That's a pretty badass nickname. How'd you get that?
Yeah, it's really cool. It was actually my promoter and my manager, McHale. He and some people from my gym came up with it for me, based on who I am, because I'm working with horses all the time and stuff, and they sort of came up with it for me, so it's really cool.
Sweet. From what I've seen, you moved around in your amateurs between bantamweight and flyweight. What made you decide to compete in the pros? Hello, are you there? Hello?
Oh, sorry, my connection must be really bad or something.
Okay, are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. I was saying from what I had seen from your career, you've kind of floated around between bantamweight and flyweight. What made you make the decision to compete as a pro at flyweight instead of bantamweight?
Well, I actually have only competed at 135 before. But the only reason I have the other one on is because it was like a mix-up.
Oh.
I actually didn't fight it. I didn't fight it that way.
Okay.
Something happened there, but I've only ever fought at 135 before.
Oh, okay. So what made you make the decision to drop?
Just getting more serious with my training. I realized that I could easily drop to that. So I thought it would be better for me as a pro to fight at 125.
Well, I guess too, did it help that like all the opportunities seem to be opening up these days at 125? Bellator is building a solid 125 division. The UFC is bringing in a 125 division. Did that have anything to do with your decision?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a part of it too. There are a lot more opportunities for me to fight there too. So yeah.
How easy is that? Because I noticed for your last weight, and you were only like 134 or something like that. So is it an easy cut for you to 125?
It's not really easy, but
Mm-hmm.
It's not super intense or anything.
Will you be open to floating in between weight classes in the future, like with Bellator, or are you going to try to stick with flyweight and make a run there?
I think at least 125. I don't think I'll go back up to 135. But 125. I'm not sure if I'll go down to 115 or not, but probably stick to 125 for now.
Yeah, you got a great fight ahead of you, a huge opportunity with Heather Hardy, October 20th. That's a big opportunity for you. It's a big stage to make your pro debut on. Are you concerned at all about nerves or anything like that? That's a big stage to come out on.
Yeah, it is big. I'm a little nervous, but I really think once I get in the cage, I'm sort of comfortable in the cage, and so I don't think once I get in there, it will be too big of a deal. I definitely will be nervous coming up to it, but I get in the fight zone when I get in the cage, so I think it'll be fine.
Did you now? From what I had, some information I had received on you, were you 12-0, not as an AMI coming up? Is that a right statistic, a proper statistic from what I could find?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think so. That's what is what I was able to find the one number.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that's going to play a role in how comfortable you are when you make your debut?
Yeah, I mean, I've had 3 MMA fights, and the rest are like 8 of them are Thai boxing, and then the other one's the boxing. But yeah, I think it will definitely, like, it helps. I mean, every time I fight, I feel like I get more comfortable. So.
How much of an advantage do you think it's going to be that, like, you kind of go in there together, you and Heather, and it looks as though you're similar in experience? You know, she's got her one pro fight, she has a boxing background, and you have, you know, your 0-0 making your debut, but in reality, you have a lot more time in the cage than she does. How much of advantage are you expecting that to be when you two meet?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure how much of an advantage it'll be, but I feel like I have more versatility as far as like being on the ground and standing up. I mean, it's a lot different to roll like in the cage than it is just rolling when you're practicing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's definitely an advantage.
You know, her having a boxing background, it's 2 very different energy systems between grappling and striking, just the way you use energy and the way it's put out. Do you feel like grappling with her and kind of leaning on her early can zap a lot of her energy from her power shots?
I mean, I definitely think it could. I mean, depending on her conditioning and how she's been working, I mean, it is different when you get in the cage and do that, grappling in the cage too. So I definitely think that could happen.
When did you find out about this fight? Like, and how did that come to you? What were you thinking when it did come to you?
I was kind of blown away when it came to me. I mean, we got my manager got the offer, and like we were thinking about it for a while first, and I thought it was going to be in Oklahoma originally. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, and then they like said it's going to be in Connecticut, and I was like, whoa, that's a little bit different to fight my first pro fight like in an arena like that. But you know, I mean, I think it's pretty awesome. I'm still kind of blown away.
How do you feel like you match up with Heather when you start looking skill to skill?
I mean, you know, her boxing is really good. I definitely think that I have more versatility though. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
What are you gonna have to do well inside the cage to neutralize her boxing and kind of be able to lean that fight in your direction?
Just don't sit in her comfort zone.
Don't stand there and get pegged off.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. I don't know. It sounds like that's going it's going to be important that you implement that to perfection, by the way.
Exactly.
What do you do really well that you think is going to give her a lot of problems?
I mean, just I have a lot of different areas that I'm like used to working in. Like I've done MMA and jiu-jitsu and taekwondo and stuff for a long time. So I mean, just a lot of different things that she hasn't. I don't know what she's been working on really. So, you know.
Are you expecting that, like, just even, you know, sometimes when you come out and you have all these different things in your bag that you can throw at somebody, it kind of evens out the playing field with the striking because they have to be worried about so many other things that it kind of opens a door for you to land those shots. Are you kind of anticipating that when you go out there?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out that way. Yeah. That's
the plan? You're a woman of few words. You're like, yep, that's the plan. How do you see this fight playing out? How do you see yourself winning?
I mean, I would really like to win standing up, but like I feel like that like if I get to the ground that I can out-grapple her and hopefully a submission. So, I mean, maybe we'll be on the ground for a little while and stand back up. But yeah, hopefully, like I'll finish it. I'd like to finish it and not let it go to decision.
If I'm a betting man, what round should I throw some money down on?
Maybe the second.
Second? All right. Sounds good. Hear that, Tristan, my producer? 20, second round. All right. Following the victory, like, what do you want next? How active do you want to be? What are you looking for?
I mean, I really just want to see how this fight goes first, but I want to be active. Like, I want to keep fighting and, like, do as much as I can right now. But, yeah, I'm just sort of training for this fight and see what comes next.
Do you set like timeline goals for yourself? Do you come into this thinking like, okay, 2 years I want to be a champion, or 2.5 years, and like, do you kind of like lay those goals out for yourself, or just one day at a time type of thing? How do you look at things?
I'm pretty much a one day at a time person. I'll take the opportunities that I get, and I don't really have it mapped out because I have no idea what will happen. But pretty much just one step at a time.
Sweet. How long are you under contract with Bellator? Like, how many fights? Or is it a length of time? What's your contract like with them?
For 3 fights.
Sweet. All right. Well, listen. I wish you the best of luck. We're gonna throw 20 down on a second round submission. That's what we're gonna do. And I really wish you all the luck in the world in your debut. And I want to thank you for giving us some of your time during training. I know things are hectic for you, so I really appreciate it, Kristina. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
100%. And enjoy the rest of your night, okay?
You too. Thanks.
All right. Doesn't say a whole lot, but
I was curious. Like, it says that one of her amateur fights is at LFA 9.
Yeah, maybe they have, because they put on some amateurs, like they're almost like they have their televised cards, right? And then they have
like a prelim.
Yeah, they have AMI fights.
I see. Okay,
kind
cool.
Kind of like how the UFC has like a prelim, right? They
That
kind of
makes
have that
sense,
same idea, but it's AMI fights.
I was looking at it, I'm like, that's weird.
They have AMI fights early.
She got her hands full. Like, Heather Hardy is just an animal. But
she's 12-0. Like,
but if you can go in there,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. If you
go in there and you steal that win, or not a steal win, you beat her, you can just gain all that momentum.
I feel like this is one of those cases where it's like, looking at her as a 0-0 fighter is not a fair assessment of the situation. She's fought a pro boxing fight or an AMI boxing fight, I'm not sure, but she's won a boxing fight. She's won 4 or 5 Thai fights, she said, right? Thai boxing. And she's won 3 MMA fights or something. So whatever it was, she's winning fights. Everything she does, she's winning, which is very important. To an important note, right?
Yeah.
So she's competent. And Heather Hardy, being a boxer, is going to be heavy on that right foot.
Yeah.
What happened, or that lead foot? Sorry, not. What's going to happen when she starts eating a couple leg kicks? A la one of the Diaz brothers type, that heavy. They have a tendency to eat them, right? Same thing. Like, if you're a boxer, you're heavy on that front leg. You got Thai experience. You can start chopping that leg down.
The big thing is even in Hardy's last fight, her opponent was like really game. She was tough.
Yeah.
She was outclassed in the striking department, but she was really, really tough. So what you're saying is that Kristina seems like she's pretty tough. So she has an opportunity and talented, obviously.
Listen, all you need to hear is undefeated, 12-0 across a variety of disciplines, and you realize you're dealing with someone who could fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's game. She's gonna come to fight, and I just feel like. You hear Heather Hardy saying, "Oh, she's this boxer." Like, we're just not. I don't think people are truly grasping how good of a fight this could be. Like, this girl's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your name's fucking Warhorse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's badass shit. That's bad stuff for you're Warhorse. You know.
We got Lazar's next.
Yeah. Lazar Stojadinovic. That's going to be a good conversation. A lot of crazy things happen with him. Prior to the Dana White Contender Series, we're talking. He's just made a recent move to the West Coast, changed camps, everything like that. So we're gonna talk to him, and see what he's got to say. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. I gotta acknowledge it. We gotta put it out there right now. We gotta put it. So we had a bit of a headphone issue. And now Tristan has
I don't feel the same today. He's
wearing his pink headphones.
You have to be very comfortable in your sexuality with these pink headphones on. But am I allowed to say that? I don't even know.
But you brought them. They were already in your bag.
Hey, the girlfriend back me up on this one. All right. That's what I'm sticking with.
That's classic. I like it. Classic excuse. Classic excuse. Anyway, we're gonna be right back with Lazar Stojadinovic. We're going to have a good conversation. We're talking about everything going on. Stay with us. You're going to want to hear this one. What's up, Fight House fans? We are back with Lazar Stojadinovic. What's going on, Lazar? Welcome back to the show, brother. How's everything?
Good, man. Everything's good. It's good to be back.
Yes,
it's
sir.
Been a while.
Yeah, man. You recently made the move over to Los Angeles. How's the new digs treating you, man? What are you thinking of L.A.?
Man, it's awesome over here. I always wanted to make the move to LA.
Yeah. That was.
I, 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 it was a little, at the time, it was a little hard for me to make that move. So Florida was an opportunity at the time, and I just took that one,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I finally got the opportunity to move down to LA, and I love it, man. It's a nice place, a good place, good energy.
Yeah.
And it's just a fresh start,
Yeah, man. I mean, California's always been one of my favorite places. It's a lovely place, so it's good to get it's a good place to get a fresh start, my friend.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on with you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, just I came over here just to visit, and I just got right after my fight, I got an awesome feeling, and at the time I was feeling real down. So when I felt that, when I came here, I felt good, and then once I got back to Florida, it was like all that energy was drained out of me, and I was like, man, I got to do something. I got to start fresh. I got to do something new.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a lot of things going on, man. A lot of ups and downs. Was the reason for you moving just the loss to Tan Le and just the way you were feeling? What and have you permanently changed camps now? Is this a permanent change for you now that you moved to LA?
Well, I always had I always thought about moving. I always wanted to make the move. Like I said, when I first went to Florida, my first choice was LA.
Right. Okay.
Just my original boxing coach was going to Miami, and I wanted to stay with him. I didn't want to leave and switch coaches, so I left with him. And I gave it time. I was in Miami for 8 years, in Florida for 8 years, and I gave it the time. But I just couldn't take it anymore. I needed to get out of there, And I love. There's people in ATT that I'm super close with. Conan, Mike Brown. I'm really close with Dean Thomas. I have a really good relationship with those guys.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that I'm done with ATT. I wouldn't say that. If it makes sense financially and stuff like that, I will do some camps there. And stylistically, if my opponent has a stylistic style that matches somebody at ATT, and it makes sense, then I'm representing ATT. I'm not going to stop. I'm representing my boxing gym, Spencer at Fifth Street Gym. I'm a real loyal person, so this is a real hard move for me. People that I have a real good relationship with, I plan to keep those people around me, for the rest of my life.
Right.
So it was a tough move for me, but I just needed something new.
What caused leading up to the Tan Le fight? I know that you were having some issues in the camp. Talk to me a little bit. We had talked, but not a lot of people realize, right? But what happened surrounding that fight? You went there. It wasn't your greatest showing. Wasn't your best night. But there was a lot of stuff going on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Well, I don't like making any excuses.
Yeah.
Of course, hats off to Tan Le. He did a great job. Regardless of what would have been different, maybe I would have been a little bit better prepared. But he did an awesome job, and I'm a guy who I think of myself with a very high fight IQ. Yes. So I registered very fastly what Tan Le was doing good. He was doing a lot of things good that was making it very difficult for me.
Right.
And the one thing that I do know that would have been different is I would have been a little better prepared for that style. And the issue with the camp was ATT this was right before my fight. It was a real busy month.
Right.
Everybody was fighting. So when I was getting ready for my camp, everybody was done fighting. So believe it or not, as big as ATT is, some days I would go to ATT and there'll be one guy my size.
Yeah.
To spar with.
Wow.
And it was insane. Everybody was done fighting. So I was like, man, I was literally, for Tan Le, I was preparing with a wrestler. I had a guy that was a wrestler sparring with me who was a southpaw as well.
Yeah.
So it was, I'm never one to to really focus on my opponent. I still go out there and do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to having somebody that does something so well,
right?
Like for instance, when people are getting ready for Lyoto Machida, it's very hard for them to prepare because there's not a lot of guys out there that can do what they do. And Townley is one of those guys. He has very good kicks, very unorthodox. He moves in different angles. So you have to see that every day to adjust to it.
Right.
And those weren't things that I was seeing. So, I mean, I knew that no matter what, I'm going to go out there, I'm a fighter, I'm going to try to figure something out, I'm going to go out there and fight.
Right.
So I had that in the back of my mind, like, it doesn't matter, I'm going to go fight anyways. But, of course, it would have made my night a lot easier if I was seeing somewhat of that style thrown at me.
Yeah. Well,
maybe I would have tried some takedowns in my camp and, like, you know,
something.
Try to close the distance better. But I wasn't really getting that look. And the whole time when I got offered the fight, I had what's his name, Mitchell.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Mitchell. Who made his UFC debut like 3 weeks before my fight, and he ended up losing. And he would have been stylistically perfect for Townley. He throws very unorthodox kicks, very elusive movement, a lot of movement.
How uncomfortable did it make the distance for you, Lazar? Like when you're in there and you're doing your thing, because you're a boxer, so a huge part of your game is distance. How uncomfortable was it for you?
Well, it wasn't. Here's what it was. It was the fact. What I put the blame a lot on is the lack of sparring, and that's what I felt. I really, for the camp, I had 3 sparring sessions for the whole camp. So
wasn't that feeling? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
So I felt that when I went in there, I felt my distance. I mean, even if you ask me, like at certain points when we were at exchanges and I was missing, like I would suck my teeth. I was so like annoyed at myself the whole fight. So it's kind of like I couldn't get my distance down packed, and I think it was the lack of sparring, of course, because leading into a fight, you'll have at least anywhere from 10 to 16 sparring sessions.
Right.
And I had 3 the whole camp.
But doesn't that strike you when you were in your camp? Wasn't that weird to you when you're like, this is the biggest fight of my life, like this is the biggest opportunity I've had as an MMA fighter? And
of course.
And
at a certain point, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I just didn't hear you.
Yeah, no worries. Go ahead.
At a certain point in the fight camp, I was like, man, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like I got to go somewhere, you know, because I'm not getting any sparring. But at that point, there was only 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, I got the fight in like 5 weeks' notice. I went to Vegas for a week to do the whole media stuff. So I had 4 weeks to prepare. So by that time, there was only when that started happening, I was like, man, I only got 3 weeks. What am I going to go get adjusted to a new camp? Try to figure out who's this, who's that. I'm only going to have maybe 1.5 weeks of sparring or training, you know. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to become the new guy in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll just suck it up and try to make it work. And I didn't really let that bother me because you have that in the back of your head. You lost the fight before you even go in. So I was, I try to stay as positive as possible leading into the fight and just do what I do, but it just didn't work out that way.
And did you also have an issue with a corner? I think I remember you saying.
I had nobody. At last minute, everybody. There was so many fights. Like I said, it was a real busy month for ATT. So, last minute, my corners got switched off, and I didn't have anybody from American Top Team in my corner. So, I just I flew down. A close friend of mine fought in the UFC, Tony Christodoulou.
Okay.
But he wasn't with me for the whole camp. He was he actually lives in Greece, so he just flew in from Greece to come corner me.
Crazy.
And my boxing coach, Dino Spencer.
That's crazy. What was your thought process now? Like, you've gone through this camp, you didn't kind of get the right looks that you needed from your camp. Then you don't get a corner. You show up in Vegas, you got to like kind of scramble together a corner. How frustrating was it, like, that this is all happening at like the biggest moment of your career?
Oh man, it was real. You have no idea. Like, and another thing that was really messed up, like, I had the idea of going out there with a week's notice just to get acclimated to the weather and this and that. And I told the UFC, listen, I need my room by this date.
Yeah.
So they said, okay. I said, I'll pay for it. Take it on my purse.
Yeah.
So I get to my room. I get to the hotel, the Palms, and there's no rooms available. And my room's not scheduled for me until Wednesday.
Wow.
And I'm there on Saturday, or a week before.
Oh my God.
So now I get there at like midnight in Vegas, and I'm walking around Vegas. You know how Vegas is crazy. You can't cross streets. It's insane. So I'm walking around midnight for like an hour trying to get a room. I finally get a room. And then the next day I had to switch again. It really screwed me over with, like, I was switching rooms back and forth, trying to get a room anywhere I can until my room was available.
Wow.
So the whole.
Sorry, go ahead.
The whole camp, the whole leading up to the fight was just a big pain in the ass.
And none of that, like, I mean, how much of a sour taste did that leave you towards American Top? Like, I know, like, you have people there that you really care about in your life and stuff, but weren't you there for something? What was it, like 8 years or something? Not 8 years. Or was it 8?
Yeah, I've been there for like 7.5 years since I moved to Florida, basically.
So, like, did it how much, like, of a bad taste did that leave you with? That it's like, I've put in all this time here. Like, I've been here a long time. I didn't just walk in here 2 months ago. You know, I've been here for years. And, like, this is kind of how you guys did me in, like, my most important moment. Like, I don't know. I gotta feel like that must be annoying.
I mean, yeah. Of course, it annoyed me at the time. At the time, it really bothered me. Yeah. But you know, like I said, I have people that I really like over there.
Sure.
I have a good relationship with. So I don't hold on. Like, those people did nothing wrong to me. The people who I like there never did anything wrong to me. Like Conan, Mike Brown, none of those people did anything wrong to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of don't hold any animosity towards them because, and it's done. What happened. You know, there's nothing I can do about it now.
True.
So I kind of don't let those things bother me. And leading them into the fight, it kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hold on to it too long because I didn't want to go in the fight thinking about those things. I wanted to go into the fight fresh-minded and just try to pull off the victory.
You know, how tough was it to swallow this loss? Like, you know, all that stuff aside, like, put behind you, like, you know, you get the moment, it didn't go your way that night. Was this a tougher one to swallow than most?
Yes, because I pride myself very, very high on being able to take a punch, and it was the first time I ever been knocked out ever in my life, even sparring, anything. And I've been doing this at 5 years old. I've never been put to sleep. So more than anything, that was the hardest pill to swallow. You know, I've lost before. I've felt defeat, but I've never been, you know, put out. So that was the hard one to kind of brush off.
What's your process like to do that, man? Like, how does that work? Because I imagine it must be a hell of a thing to overcome. You know, just because just as people, right? We have ego, we have pride, we have all these things. So what's the process like to get yourself back up on the horse and get back at it?
Here's the thing, man. I sat in my house for, like, I'm not even joking, for like a month, depressed. But then I started thinking, and all that is a memory. It doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is this moment right now, where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So why am I gonna let something that I can't do anything about, that doesn't even, there's there's nothing you can do. It's like a photograph. Okay, it happened. What are you going to do? That's pretty much how I thought about it, and I just got up and moved on with my life.
So, now that you're in California, where do you train there? Where are you going to train? Have you found a place?
Well,
have you zoned it in?
Well, my manager is George Gumadas. He owns Black House. So I'm going to be training at Black House, just, to stay in shape, to stay in the groove.
Yeah.
And when I have a fight camp, it's going to be, I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to try kind of base my camp off who I'm fighting.
Okay.
And
in what sense?
It'll be a little more expensive and stuff like that, but it's going to be worth it in the long run.
So it'll be Black House, and then like kind of wherever else you feel like you can get the best looks for that opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you gonna spend some time? I'd have to think for your weight class. Team Alpha Male would have to be a good option. There'd be so many bodies in there in your weight class.
Definitely.
Is that an option for you?
Yeah, it's definitely an option. Garrett Faber's a super cool guy. He talked to me after my fight, and he invited me to come train anytime I want over there. So that's definitely a place I'll probably be checking out. It's only like, I think, 5-6 hours away from me driving.
Okay.
So I'll definitely be making that trip.
Yeah, definitely. I have to imagine, man, that's an iron sharpens iron place for sure.
Yeah,
definitely lots of benefits.
I mean, yeah, like I said, like my next fight is really going to show, show the big difference. I didn't fight like myself in the fight. I didn't use my movement. I wasn't as elusive as I usually am. I was a little more tight and like biting down and trying to get that knockout punch.
Yeah.
Usually I don't let those things bother me. I just let the fight go on. I don't try to really go for the knockout. I just let it come as it comes.
True, yeah. You definitely you have a smooth strike. I mean, you have an incredible amateur boxing background, so you're, as far as a striker goes, you're usually miles ahead of the people you're competing against just on experience alone and technique.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I noticed, man, of everything. Like, I mean, I'm obviously not an MMA fighter, but the one thing I noticed was just the range. It just seemed like it was an uncomfortable thing for you in the fight, the way you were moving and stuff, which caught me as odd because you're usually very in control of that.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like I said, it was just, my distance was just off.
Yeah.
And he did a really, really good job in staying patient and not really doing much until he needed to. He was just kind of letting me kind of come in, and then when he would see his opening, he would shoot. So, and he was doing that very well. He wasn't shooting that many punches because, he knows that he knew at that range, me slipping and countering him is going to probably happen.
Yeah.
So he did very good. He didn't throw many punches. He just kept his kicks very snappy and very, very fast. That was one thing really, like, I swear to God, like the first kick he threw, like, I didn't even see it at one point. I just heard it. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell? Did that just hit me?
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. Like, it was so snappy and so fast and hard. He had very hard kicks, which I'm shocked because most Taekwondo guys don't have, like, he kind of had, like, the Taekwondo style with, like, the Muay Thai putting in the shin, real good on the kick. So he did a really good job. He trained well for the fight. He was in great shape. Another thing I'll be doing is making the drop down to 35.
Right, yeah.
I've been trying to fight at 35 for a year and a half, and opportunities never come for me at 35. They always, you want to fight this guy at 45? So
yeah.
When they called me for the Contender, I told them, I was like, listen, I'm a 35er.
Yeah.
And like, can you find me a 35er? And they're like, look, because I was already pretty low leading into I was low in my weight.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, this is the fight. You want to fight at 45. Your last fight was at 45, so we have you as a 45er.
Right.
I was like, all right, what am I going to do?
Well, yeah, that's a life of a fighter, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
And that was another thing I noticed. You know, he was much bigger than I was.
Sure.
I didn't feel a strength advantage. Like, he didn't feel that much. He didn't feel stronger than me. When I clinched with him, I didn't feel like he was stronger than me, but he was a lot bigger than I was. He had a lot more body weight behind him.
Well,
that was something I noticed.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, I've spoke to him too as well, and like he can float between 155. Like he's talked about that before. So yeah, he definitely had like the size on you. If you're a natural 135er, he could fight at 155. So I mean, you're looking at a fair difference there.
I walked into the fight, I think, at 53. He looked a good 173.
Yeah, big boy for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So you know,
that's something that
sorry, go ahead.
That's something that I think I was thinking about as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just try to really like focus on going to 35.
Definitely. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about your next fight. Do you have anything lined up? Do you have any idea when you're going to get back in the cage, when we could see you? Where?
I'm planning on. I mean, ideally, I want to fight in the beginning of next year.
Okay.
I just want to kind of take this year and just kind of figure things out. I also got my boxers down here, Nico Valdez, so he's probably going to be fighting December. So I want to just focus on him, and then as soon as he fights, then I could kind of focus on my training camp. I'll still be training as I'm training him, of course, but I'm going to be focusing on his fight. And then after he's done, I can think about my fight. But I want to fight from anywhere from the end of January to the beginning of February. That's my plan. And it'll either be for, most likely it'll be a LFA.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking to them probably tomorrow.
Oh, sweet.
About getting something in the beginning of next year. So that'll probably be my next fight.
Nice, man. Nice. I know there's some people who are looking for 135 or so. I mean, there's a guy, a similar record to Ray Rodriguez. I know he's looking for a fight at 135 real bad, too. Hopefully, maybe you guys could set something up, man. That'd be a great fight, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
We'll see, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to get something in the beginning of next year.
Yeah, man, definitely. Listen, I want to thank you for giving us some time, man. I really hope to see you in the cage. I always enjoy watching you fight, man, and I really enjoy our conversations. Thanks for giving me some of your time, bro. And yeah, I hope things bounce back real good for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's always good talking to you.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it.
Support too, man.
100%. Enjoy the rest of your night, bro, and try not to have too much fun out there.
Nah, just focusing, man.
All right, bro. Later.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Take care, man.
Before the interview started, I was just assuming that he'd probably be in like a worse state than he is. He seems like he is, like he said, he seems like he turned that corner as far as the loss goes, because that was, like you said, that was a massive opportunity for him.
Right, but you know what I think too? I think with these guys, like, it's such a, like, think about, like, I don't think sometimes we don't take it in, right? Like, we see it as a sport, like, you kind of get this vision of it. But it's like, if you lose, you lost in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's an ego thing, man. That's a pride thing. Like, that's got to be a tough thing to absorb, you know? People feel that way when they get beat up in front of 12 people outside the bar.
True.
You know, imagine getting beat up on national television or you know, knocked out or just things don't go your way or whatever the case, you know?
That's what I mean. He seems like he's a pretty mentally strong guy.
Right, and that's what I was about to say. Like, he's competed in combat sports for his whole life. He's got over 100 amateur boxing fights.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's just a lot of experience, like being in situations like you said, the hardest thing was the knockout because it's never happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was new. Like, everything else about that process he's dealt with it, you know, numerous times, right?
Yeah.
But that part was the new part. That was the hard part. You know what I'm saying? And I think he just, you know, I think he's smart enough to know, like, I got caught. You know, it's just
that second season's coming, bud. So you never know.
You never know. You know, I feel for the guy. Like, you know what I mean? You train, and then to have all those things happen, and like I know he's being cool about it because you know he's not going to come out and just publicly wreck people when he knows he's got people there that he really cares for.
Yeah.
You know. But, like, shame on them, man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I'm being real. Like, 8 years, talking 7.5 years you train in this gym, 7.5 years.
Yeah.
And the pinnacle, like, the most important point of your career, and it's like, You can't find me somebody who kicks.
Yeah.
It's ATT.
Everybody knows how hard it is to come up in MMA.
Listen, this isn't Jim's Martial Arts at the corner of like Donlands and Danforth or something. You know what I mean? We're talking about like one of the biggest gyms in the sport. Yeah. You can't find him a kicker, really?
Yeah.
We can't find anyone to come in that can throw kicks. Yeah. You can't give him a corner.
I mean, you want to hope that this is like this doesn't happen all the time, but I think it just comes with the sport that just doesn't have a lot of money flowing in it. You know what I mean? You can't hire a bunch of different guys to come in just as like a backup, just in case this kind of thing happens. Because you know what I mean? It's just it's a new sport, and like there's just not as much money in it as the other big five sports.
Listen, think about how unprepared you are. If you have to bring a corner in that consists of your boxing coach, no disrespect to his boxing coach, I'm sure the man is completely competent, but it's not boxing.
Yeah,
we're not boxing. True. You know what I'm saying? You flew your buddy, but your buddy wasn't there for the camp. He doesn't know anything you've worked on. He has no idea what you've been doing for the past 6 weeks. He's just there to be like, go get him, brother.
Yeah.
You know, here's my opinion. I'm a fighter too. Like, here's what I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's brutal, man.
That's just not a good situation to be set into.
Just hearing him say it, you could hear it, like the stain in his voice. You know, he doesn't want, like you said, he doesn't want to just trash anybody.
He's not trash nobody,
no,
but
he's too good for that. Yeah,
he's not that kind of guy, I don't think. But you got like, I don't know. I'll sit here. I'll say it. Like, if what we just heard is true, then like shame on them, kind of. You know, like, how do you do that to somebody who's trained with you? That like, it's not like I said. It's not like he walked in 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey, I got to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then maybe it's like, hey, we have other.
Because you go in there and you train every day because you hope that you join a family. You know what I mean? And then they just disappear on you. It's,
you know, I got nothing against. I mean, I don't have personally have anything against them, but you know, I don't think you should be doing that to your people. I just feel like like he should have had more support. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. Yeah,
that's the best way. As you get older, you realize not to burn bridges. You know what I mean? Just do what you got to do for yourself, and then just try to get the most out of every situation that you can.
I think some people are incredibly loyal. I think he's one of those people, and I think unfortunately for people like that, they get a few harsh reminders that it's an individual sport.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's a business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because who were you cornering? You were cornering people that were in the UFC already. That's why there's no corner.
Yep.
Right? Like you know?
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
Like your corner got switched up because someone else who was maybe bringing in more money or whatever.
Like you said, he doesn't want to use excuses, but these are legit things.
That's
like training partners, no corner.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's almost unheard of, especially for a fight like that.
Yeah.
Especially for a fight of that
short
magnitude.
Notice,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the Dana White Contender Series. This is your shot. This is your shot to go out there. He goes out there and puts Tonley away.
It's a whole different thing.
And on a side note, the fact that Tonley never got a contract for that is just blows my mind.
It's true.
I mean, I'm a fan of Lazar. I'm also a big fan of Tonley, and it's surreal to me that he didn't get his contract.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Speaking of contracts, we've got Matt Bissett up next.
Oh my God, poor Matt Bissett.
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah. So Kurt Hollabaugh recently is in the news. He got busted for. Well, no, he didn't get busted. In fairness, he's told them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound like
he's not pulling busted,
like he broke
Wanderlei,
right. Like he didn't break he didn't fail a drug test. He didn't run away from USADA. He admitted that on a questionnaire what he did. Anyway, we're gonna be back with Matt Bissett. We're gonna talk to him about just the whole thing, just finding out that that's overturned, and what he feels about the fact that Hollabaugh took the IV or just things like that, and see where his head's at, man, and how he's been and how he's recovering, and when we can see him back in the cage. We'll talk about all that stuff when we're back in a few minutes with Matt Bissett. What's up, Fight House fans? Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Matt Bissett on the line. Would have been nice to talk to him, find out where his head's at after finding out about Kurt Hollabaugh, the IV, the suspension, and another guy, like, huge opportunity for him, and things for one reason or another didn't go his way. With him, though, there's a little bit of controversy there. So,
trying to get him on for next week?
Yeah, we're definitely going to try to bring him on next week. I want to have Kurt on next week, too. I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would like to talk to Kurt Hollabaugh right now. So, I'm sure his demands on his time are big, but we're going to try to get them both on and see where their heads are at and find out what's going on. But we are going to close out strong. We got Sam Alvey, took a big fight coming up in Poland, UFC Fight Night 118. 8 days notice, something like a literal fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. Like we're talking, he has to go to Poland on 8 days notice for a fist fight.
Ramazan Ameev.
And he's a beast too, is he not?
I'm pronouncing that right.
And he's a beast, is he not?
Yeah, he's got a pretty good record, 31-9.
There you go.
Yeah,
tough.
You know
tough
who am
guy.
I fighting?
Yeah, that's a tough guy. That's a tough fight. You know what I mean? And it's his UFC debut, I believe, too.
Yeah.
So, you got a guy like there's very little to win for Sam Alvey here besides obviously a paycheck.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but there's a lot to lose. I don't know.
Like I said, that's why the UFC loves him. Because he's
just a balls to walls kind of guy. You gotta love him. Good conversation. Really nice guy to talk to. Guy, yeah, he's one of those really likable people.
Yeah, he's always a fan favorite.
Yeah, right. So anyway, we're gonna be back with Sam. Got lots to talk about and lots of questions for him. So stay with us. It's gonna be a conversation. We'll be right back with Sam Alvey. What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Sam Alvey, who's just taken a last-minute fight with Ramazan Ameev at UFC Fight Night 118 in Poland. What's going on, Sam? Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I always like being on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. How's everything going, man? How's the rush to get the weight under control and all that? How far are you off?
I'm off by more than a little bit, but I'll get there.
What's how tough of a process is it for you to get down?
This time it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but
Right.
I've got a great team, Dynamic Fitness. They've been working with me for years. They're helping with some of the nutrition and the cardio and all that. And then George Blackheart, he's helping me as well. So
Sweet.
I've got a good team on it. I'm keeping busy, and it'll get off. I've never missed weight, and it's not going to start now.
I like it, man. What made you take this fight, man? You're facing a guy's making his UFC debut. What was the rationale behind jumping on this fight?
They asked.
That's it.
Really about it.
That's it. Eh? You ask and I'll answer the bell.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The only concern this time was the weight.
Right.
And it really was a concern, but I did the math, and I know I'm the most mentally strong fighter in the UFC. And so if anyone can do it, it's me.
There it is, man. This is kind of I was trying to wonder. You're 5-1 in your last 6. You've been on a good little run here. You're coming off a win over Rashad Evans. You got some big names in your winning your latest run. Is this a dangerous fight for you to take right now? Like where you're at, you're trying to make a run here. I know you're on your vengeance tour and stuff. Is this a dangerous fight?
Every fight's a dangerous
Right.
fight. Every fight I walk into, the guy's trying to knock me out, and vice versa. Whether I'm fighting him or someone well known,
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on losing, so I won't.
Fair enough. Do you feel like you can gain from this? Or is this just like a paycheck and like you asked, I'm going to answer the bell, but there really isn't all that much for you to gain? Like, do you have that feeling?
No, I've got a lot to gain.
Okay.
And I don't particularly think I've got a lot to lose either.
Okay.
Fight's a fight. He's a tough guy. He's the M1 champion. He's won almost all of his fights. He's a Sambo champion. He's a very talented guy, and I am not overlooking any part of it. But at the end of the day, we're going to get in the ring, and I'm going to get that hand raised. I'll find a way, and it'll be good.
As you're trying to, I don't know how much you're into like researching your opponent stuff, but as you try to get some of this information in before you go to the fight, how do you feel like you match up from what you've seen or what you've heard? Or
Well, the best thing I can go on is his last fight.
Right.
And that one, I've been able to find that one. It was a good fight, and I see some flaws in the way he fights, but then I see some real strength too, especially compared to me. He's got some strengths where I have some weaknesses. So I could really see this being a good fight. But like I say, I'm the experience. I'm the veteran. I'm the guy that's going to go out there and win.
We talk about UFC jitters when people make their debut. This may be a last-minute fight for you that you're taking, but it's a huge fight for him as well, especially now that from his if we look at things from his perspective, he's about to take on a veteran in the sport. You've been around. You're on a winning streak. You're a hard hitter. You're a dangerous guy in there. Do you actually think that there's more pressure on him right now than there is on you?
It's his debut, so there's going to be pressure on him. There's always going to be pressure. It's just part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's got enough fights under his belt where he knows what it takes to overcome that pressure, and so do I. I think it would be a more dangerous fight for me if I had a lot of time to prepare for it. Okay. If I had an 8-week camp to train, I think there'd be more pressure, or it'd be more dangerous. Here, I'm taking a fight on 10 days. I know he's in shape. I know he's probably in better shape than me right now.
Right.
And so that puts the pressure back on me. Like, I have to show up. Whatever happens with my weight cut, however easy or not easy it is, I'm going to show up 100%, and I'm going to beat him up.
There it is. How do you what are you going to have to do really well for you to be successful in this fight?
I have a simple game plan for almost all my fights.
Okay.
I have to hit him more hard and more often than he hits me.
There it is.
If I can do that, I'll win every time.
Amen to that. It's a sound strategy. I like that. Do you feel like this is a knockout? Do you see openings there for him to be susceptible to that sort of outcome?
I always see the knockout. I know I hit really hard, and it's starting to get a little harder to knock people out because everybody else knows I hit really hard too.
Sure.
So it's working on the little things. It's closing that distance, finding the opening, finding when his hands are down, connecting with what my hand, with my good hand. Or maybe I'll submit him again. He's a Sambo champion. I've beaten jiu-jitsu black belts before. Maybe I'll submit him again too.
Well, you know what they say? They say when you get someone down, you start punching them in the face, they start losing some of those stripes, some of those colors, right? Can eventually turn into a white belt. if hit enough, if I'm a betting man, if I'm laying some money down, which is a possibility, where would you suggest I throw that money? Can you give me a round and a method, man?
I'm going to say submission round 3.
Submission round 3. I like that. I know I'm really surprised to hear you say round 3, given like the situation you're in. I would thought like maybe you'd want to go out there and try to end this early for maybe conditioning purposes or whatever. Do you feel like you're conditioning? You're at a place where you'll be able to hold up for 3?
No, absolutely. I train year round. I train every day of the year. The difference for me is when I eat. When I'm not fighting, I eat. Yeah. That's where my weight comes in. But I mean, even this.
Hello? Did we lose Sam?
We may have lost Sam.
We might have lost Sam. We'll get him back on the line if we lost him. Sam, you with us? Okay, there it is. Hello, sir. We got Sam back on the line. Sorry about that. A little disconnection.
No, that's all right. It happens.
Yeah, no problem, man. Continue with what you're saying.
Yeah, I was saying Sean Strickland, a good friend and teammate of mine, fights November 11th. So I've been in the practice room every day training with him, pushing him for 3, 4, 5 rounds.
Oh, nice.
So 3 rounds really won't be an issue for me, even with the weight cut. If the weight cut affects me, I'll still be good for 3 rounds because I'm good for 8 right now.
When are you going to fly out to Poland? How long are you going to be there before the fight?
I leave on Sunday. I would leave earlier, but I've got a bunch of amateurs fighting Friday night, and I have to corner them.
Oh, sweet, man. That's good of you, man, in this situation with something coming up that you still take the time to do that. It's commendable.
Oh, it's the most dangerous thing for my opponent there to have me watch some fights that I care about the week before. I love these amateurs. I see how hard they are. They're going to jazz me up so much. I'll bet you I'll lose 10 pounds just Friday night watching my amateurs fight.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Are you worried at all with like I know sometimes like the flights they say can affect a weight cut depending will you be is Sunday enough time for you to make it out there and kind of nullify that issue? Like we'll make it a non-factor?
I'll let you know in about 4 days.
Sweet, man.
I think it'll be fine. It's going to be a hard cut no matter what.
How much?
I just got to...
If you don't mind me asking, how much weight are you cutting, my friend?
Yeah, I don't want to let that slip out.
Okay.
But rest assured, it's a bunch.
It's a bunch. Okay. All right, man. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for giving us time. I know you're crammed for time and you're training your butt off and trying to get yourself ready for the situation. So I really, really do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, man. And I really always enjoy talking to you and having you on the show.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alvey. And best of luck in the fight, my friend. And hopefully we can talk afterwards.
All right, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
All right.
His demeanor, the way he speaks, he reminds me of Chael Sonnen, the way he like finishes and emphasizes certain things.
It's funny that you say that because they kind of that they come from the same place.
Yeah.
Right. Quest.
And they're both company men. You know, they both like they put the company first, which is what you had. Like, I mean, a lot of people will talk trash about like, you know, just like they want to sit back and like I'll pick my fights and all this, but at the same time, it's the UFC. It's people recognize the UFC over every other promotion, and then if you want to be like, if regardless of Sam Alvey, say he goes in and he gets upset in this fight, then the UFC is going to remember that, and they're going to set him up, and they're going to make sure they take care of him because he took this fight on short notice, you know?
Yeah, or, you know, like, there's also, who knows, like, all the reasons, right? At the end of the day, like, he could have a fight left on his contract. Like, who knows? You get it done, now you can renegotiate. He goes out there and knocks this guy out, and, you know, and then he's 6-1 in his last 7. You know what I mean? And you're negotiating for.
I try to put myself in the shoes of the owner. If I had somebody like Sam Alvey who's he's gonna ride or die for you, so to speak, and you know what I mean. Then I'm definitely gonna reward him.
This guy's about to fly to Poland on 8 days' notice. Probably, he said, rest assured, it's a bunch.
The Fertitas don't own it anymore, but there was always that, you know, that
I feel like
folklore of it being like a mafia type situation. That's why I feel like the UFC is it's a respect thing. You know what I mean? That if you do something for the UFC, they'll look out for you.
I feel like he's probably cutting 30 pounds.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot. If he's saying it's a lot,
he's saying you don't even want to let that slip.
Yeah, because he seems like the kind of guy that would be easily be able to cut off 10, 15 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be.
Well, yeah, because you know what the thing is, the bigger you get, right? Like, the more room you have for weight, right? Like, you see some guys cutting for 205 from 240. That's 35 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, 35, 40 pounds you're cutting for a fight.
Yeah,
a guy that's fighting at 150. You know, you can't be 205 pounds. Just ask Anthony Johnson and think you're gonna, or 220 and think you're gonna fight at 170. Yeah, that doesn't work.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Because if you're the smaller you get, the less you can do. You know,
I'm sure he wouldn't take it, though, unless he was pretty certain he'd make it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure he is.
The factor of how much it's going to affect his.
Well, that's what I mean. He's just able to do a lot more. Like, he's a big guy. He's a fairly large guy, right? So I'd imagine it can't be more than 30. I can't think about 8 days you're cutting more than 30 pounds. I can't imagine that. I would say 25 to 30 pounds probably.
It's like Kevin Lee. What was it? 19 pounds 2 days before or a day before?
Day before?
It's craziness. See, some of this weight cut stuff is just going to get nuts. Like I always said,
it is nuts already.
The casual viewer watches the UFC and they see the brutality and they think, oh, somebody's going to eventually die because of this that and most likely what it's going to be is weight cutting. It's going to be somebody who that happens to. You know, it's brutal. They got. I don't know. I hope Sam Alvey's taking his. He knows what I'm sure he knows.
Well, he said he got. You know, it's not so much the Sam Alvey know. It says he surrounded himself with the people who know.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like he's doing it in the safest possible way that you could cut 30 pounds in 8 days or 25. I can't say 30 because he didn't tell us, but
sure.
I would imagine that if you're saying a bunch, it's more. I think the average cut is 20.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for you to say it's a bunch, I have to feel like it's like 25, 30 pounds. You know what I mean? But, you know, I wish that guy all the luck in the world. I love the fact that he's literally an anywhere, anytime guy. Literally. He's flying to Poland to fight on 8 days' notice. He's literally that guy. I wish him all the luck. I thank him for coming. This has been a good show.
Yep.
We had a lot of great guests today. You know, it was really great to catch up again with Jose Shorty Torres, to bring Emmanuel Sanchez back on and talk about, you know, picking up a huge win like that over Daniel Strauss. Kristina Williams, just a debuting fighter getting ready for a massive fight.
It's going to be a scrap.
Sure, man. Like, you know, you got to think of the butterflies, of how much she must be feeling heading into this situation. Like, the opportunity's massive for her.
Yeah.
And then to have, you know, we got Sam Alvey on the show. We talked with him, Lazar, and, you know, you bring Lazar on and, like, have a real conversation. Like, that's more than just a, you know, fight to, you know, getting ready for a fight, you're doing this. That's like a deeper conversation. You're talking about
the inner workings of mixed martial arts,
right? Yeah. Like we got to look at some of the downside of it, right, and the way things go sometimes.
But he seems like he's in a good place though. At the end of
the fighter. If anything, these people are resilient people for the most part. You know,
you have to be.
Yeah, you have to be. It's that business, but. Just a great show. You know, we ended up with 4 really great guests. Hopefully we can get Matt Bissett back on next week. Yeah. And I'd like to get Kurt Hollab on too. I'd like to talk to both those guys.
Either way, we're gonna have somebody.
Yeah, so I'm glad you guys are with us. Enjoy the show. We will be back. We will have guests. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And stay with us. So next week will be a good one. I'm Jason Sutcliffe. This is
Tristan Keddy.
And thank you for staying for episode 29. Enjoy next week. The Fight House.
It's episode 30. Holy shit.
Oh shit. 30.